just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, This is a statement to appreciate all that is vacant. It's just for the taking. If you make up your mind, you can take it. I'm never complacent. I would work in a mansion or basement, yeah. There's no replacement for persistence, it's a patience, yeah. In this life, I wanna be soaring, to feel sun inside when it's pouring. And I'll fight till anxiety is foreign. I'm so sick of my mind's extortion. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, This is a statement to appreciate all that is vacant. It's just for the taking. If you make up your mind, you can take it. I'm never complacent. I would work in a mansion or basement, yeah. There's no replacement for persistence, it's a patience, yeah. In this life, I wanna be soaring, to feel sun inside when it's pouring. And I'll fight till anxiety is foreign. I'm so sick of my mind's extortion. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna...
Good morning, good morning. I hope everybody's doing well. This is Black Diamond Softball and Fitness, Foul Pole to Foul Pole Live. It's been a little bit. I've been away a little bit. There's been a little bit going on here. We've kind of redone the area a little bit, sort of the studio. Going through some stuff with the internet, so I didn't want to put out any bad quality type stuff. So appreciate you guys being patient with me. There's a lot of stuff happening on my end. There's a lot of stuff going on this time of the year. We got some big news kind of that's coming. for a lot of folks, not just for myself, but for a lot of folks that I'm involved with. And so I'm getting really excited about that. So I'm going to drop some of this stuff out here for you guys. It's going to be a short stream today. A lot of this information will go over to the podcast stuff. So it will be available over there on iTunes, Google, Spotify. So if you do listen to podcasts and you're not yet subscribed to any of that stuff, or at least you're not follow me or paying attention to the audio stuff, they still go out over there. We are ramping up the podcast again here pretty soon. There's going to be some stuff dropping out real quick. So I do want to talk about that too. I have a coat drive going on here locally. Let me see. I have the flyer. The boxes will be going out today. Had some stuff going on this past weekend. So, sort of a family emergency, if you will, that I had to go out of town and help out where I could. So, but everything seems to be getting back to normal on my end. So I'll be able to get this information and stuff out there to you guys. I do want to talk about a couple of big topics today that's kind of popped up, and so I know other people are dealing with different things too. So I want to put this info out there and just let you know we're not in this world alone. We all have trials and tribulations. We all have stuff that we go through, and there's just a couple of things we can get into and talk about that. So again, I appreciate you if you're here. Thank you for joining me on the live. This will go out later as well on the VOD channel, on the VOD playlist, so you'll be able to get this information. You'll have this stuff. So as the season's kind of winding down for a lot of folks, it's starting to get cold. Can't really be outside. Can't really be doing what we want to do. I guess there is a lot of different ways that we can kind of stay in the groove, if you will. One way is also, it's a big topic too, but one thing I do want to mention is playing other sports, staying active, and as well, helping your body recover a little bit. It's been a long season for a lot of girls, and they don't want to quit playing. They don't want to stop. They don't want to get out of the routine that they're in, and rightfully so. They want to stay pitching. They want to stay hitting. They don't want to lose what they've got. So we got to kind of temper that as coaches, as instructors, as parents. We got to help them out. And one way to do that is to kind of get back into that goal-oriented mindset, trying to make sure we are focused on the right things and how we can take from what we just did, the season we just had, or the last tournament we just had, or something like that. So I'm a very goal-oriented person. I kind of set these pillars out there, if you will, these checkpoints, these mile markers that I go off of, and I'll kind of go through that a little bit, and maybe you can take something away from that as well. What I like to do is kind of bookend seasons, or bookend maybe some bigger tournaments, and say, hey, this month we have X, Y, and Z, and you got 2 or 3 tournaments laid out. Or you could be one of the teams that's trying to go ahead and qualify for the Alliance Championship Series, or you're trying to advance to the next stage, or with a PGF you're trying to qualify. You could be in that boat where you're rebuilding. You got some girls that have aged out, or that's going to age out, and you need to rebuild your team. Or you could be the parent of a daughter that's like, hey, it's time for us to make some changes and look for a team elsewhere. You may not have gone through the tryout process. Maybe you're waiting, you're going to get through school ball in the springtime, or if you got school ball here that just finished up or is finishing up in the fall before you make a decision. And we all have choices. And we make our choices built around the goals that we have in place. And, these could be goals that are spoken, or these could be goals that just seem to always pop up in your mind and that no one knows about. You have your own personal internal goals for where you want to be. So speaking from the athlete side, they kind of know where they were at from this past year. They at times they played really well. At times they didn't play as well. So speaking from the athlete side, if we're talking about goals and being goal oriented, they have some sort of measuring stick. They've got friends, they've got competition, they've got schoolmates, they've got teammates, they're putting themselves, they're measuring themselves against something. That's human nature. With that, you're either better or worse in your mind. It's just how we are as humans. We do that. I'm better than so and so, or she's better than me, or I can do this but she does that. So there's always this sort of competition, if you will. With competition, we can kind of gauge where we're at, and that's how we're going to build our goals off of that. So if we're a pitcher and we're either learning a new pitch and we want to master that pitch or get better at that pitch or be able to have that pitch in our arsenal, that's a goal that we're going to set this fall. This is what I'm going to work in my garage, or when it's nice outside and I can get out, I can throw, I can work on this pitch, or I want to get a pitching instructor, or I want to take lessons online. You don't have to have a physical catcher. There's videos out there. One in particular is throwing into a bow net or throwing into a nines, the square with the 9 pockets. You just have to have enough balls, or you're just going back and forth. You can pitch into a return. There's different ways. So don't hold back from your goals because I don't have somebody that can catch me or whatever. There's ways to work around it. If you're hungry enough, if you're determined enough, you will not let anything get in your way and stop you. You won't make the excuse to, I only have a catcher on these certain days, or it's too far for me to go, or something. You'll figure out a way, I promise you, and be determined. And then you'll have that little feather in your cap that you'd be like, hey, look what I was able to overcome. I didn't have a pitching instructor for 18 months, but I still was able to work, and I still was able to get better. Same thing with the hitters approach with their goals. Hey, this year, when I struck out, it was on the off-speed pitch, or when I just couldn't see the ball out of the pitcher's hand. So with the internet and videos like crazy that just keep popping up, I'm telling you, if you put the work in, just by being able to bring in that information into your brain housing group, you're going to get somewhat better. I don't know how much better. There's no way to measure that. But if you can bring in this information, you can look at something, whether it's reading, or it's picking out your favorite athlete, or just watching a college game or an international game or Athletes Unlimited, or watching something. And you can see yourself out there. You can put this into your repertoire. You can do something to where you can say, okay, I struggle with this, and then you can watch a game, and then you can see it from outside of your body, and you can kind of set your goals that way. And what I mean by that is on a tee, setting the tee up in a certain way and working on it, or going through simulation. Back when I was growing up, there was a lot. We got better by playing pickup ball in the yard and with friends and in the community and stuff like that. And I know in a lot of areas nowadays, that's just not something that's possible. But you can kind of recreate that with doing different things. You can change your eyes. On a tee, a lot of times we just look down at the ball, and then that's what we're swinging at. We don't ever look and sort of pretend that there's a pitcher there. So we can go through our routine like we are looking at the pitcher, so we get that right feel, because we're not going to get live reps all the time. But if we kind of recreate that somehow, and then we set it up, we know the ball on the tee is not going to move. So we can kind of set it up where we want to create these perfect scenarios, this perfect storm for us to get better, and work on that precision type work to where you're taking out as many variables as you can, so that you're not having to work and someone else, there's a variable out there that something can change, and you're not being able to maximize the reps. It's like lifting weights. If you're doing 3 sets of 10, you can do your focus reps on it and make sure you're getting everything out of each rep. Well, you can do that when you're batting too. I see it far too often where it's like a cardio event whenever they go get on the tee. You got the coach just putting balls up there as fast as they can, or your friend is putting them up there as fast as they can, and you're just swinging away. And all you're doing is burning out your muscles in your arm. You're not really focusing on what it means to be a hitter. Going through your mental approach, having a good approach at the plate. We've talked about that a lot in the past, of having a good approach to what we're doing here. I talk about it all the time, especially with my younger hitters. When I talk to my older hitters and the girls that I work with, when you ask them about, okay, what's your approach? They'll give you that generic to hit the ball hard, or to get a base hit. It's not taught enough. And there are some great coaches out there that are teaching it. I'm not saying it's not taught anywhere, but I'm saying a lot of these athletes are not taught what an approach is at the plate. And like on the baseball side, you'll get it. I feel like it's a little bit younger. They get taught approach for whatever reason. But on the softball side, when I'm around or talking to different coaches and stuff, they don't understand the approach. Now, a lot of them do, but what I mean by that approach, like if you're hearing this or watching this and you're hearing approach, like I want to break it down so we're on the same page and we understand, and we can create this and make it a goal to have a good approach at the plate. And a lot of that comes from your pre-work. And so you're working on the tee. The pitch is going to be wherever. It is what it is. But if you're working with a tee, you can set it up, okay, today I'm going to work on being able to drive something that's down and in. And down and in meaning it's still a strike. It's been called a strike. You took that pitch earlier. You thought it was a ball, but it's a strike. So you're like, okay, well, wow, my strike zone is expanded because I thought that was a ball. And every umpire is going to have his zone, unfortunately. But so now you're setting that tee up out in front of your front foot a little bit, and it's a little bit closer to you. And with an inside pitch, you've got to get that barrel around. You can't let that inside pitch travel as far. That's just how it is. That's physics. So you start working on that. You move your tee or your bow net over a little bit or whatever, and you start learning what it feels like to get out on a fastball that's down and in, and you start working on that muscle memory of this is where I've got to be. And then you start working on your timing when you get to practice and you're seeing live pitching. But it all starts on that tee. So your approach works on your individual work, your downtime work, your work when the cameras and lights and all that stuff's not on. It's the same thing on the outside. I'm setting this tee up, down and away. Well, in our mind, we got to know that we have to let the outside pitch travel a little bit further. It's got to get to us a little bit further. If we lunge out, if we reach out, if we get out there too far, we're going to get something off the end of the bat. Our bat's getting through the zone before the ball is in our impact zone. So we're pushing the bat through the zone, and the ball's not there yet. So that's a part of the approach. So our prep work goes into that. Okay, well, now we're into a game. We've watched the pitcher. She's got really good command of her fastball. The catcher's glove isn't moving all over the place. I watched the pitchers and the catchers warm up earlier. Wherever the catcher set her glove up, that's where that pitcher was hitting that spot. So I know this pitcher has control. I'm going to get some pitches to hit. On the contrary, if you're watching that pitcher and catcher and she's warming up and she's throwing, she's doing her thing, and you'll see that catcher, she's set up, but that pitcher is not hitting that glove, you're probably not going to get too many pitches that you want to swing at that you like. And it's not saying that pitcher's not good or she can't strike you out or she can't get you out. So what I'm saying is she's not able to command it, or at least that's the way it looks like. Maybe the catcher just knows where it's going to be and she's lazy and she's going to pop her glove over and catch it. So understanding kind of what's going on, you're taking in as much information as you can is key to your approach. Now, if you're the leadoff hitter, first at bat of the game, your approach is going to be different from someone that's maybe batting 5th, 6th, or 7th. There's outs on the board and there's runners on the field. So the approach changes a little bit. The approach with 2 strikes, is different from the approach with a 3-0 count. So there's different approaches at different times and understanding that. But let's start with just having a good hitter's approach when we get up there to the plate. And that's a goal that we're going to work on this fall. So when we go into the spring season, we'll have it. So the first thing we need to think about is what's the situation of the game where I'm batting it. And that starts when you find out the lineup. Your approach starts then for your game. Like the game has started. This is when I start working on my approach right now for this moment. I've been working on my approach in practice. I've been working on my approach in pregame. I've been working on my approach weeks ago. But the approach for that game starts once you find your spot in the lineup. Now, if your lineup doesn't change, then your approach, maybe it won't change very much. So say you're the number 3 hitter, and you're going to bat this inning because you're batting third. So there's a lot of different variables. There's a lot of different situations you're going to come up to bat. You could come up, there's 2 outs. You could come up, there's no outs, and there's nobody on. There's a lot of different variables. So when you get up there, in the very beginning of your account, your coach is going to give you the game plan. Whatever. Are we bunting in this situation because we got a runner on 1 or 2? What's the offensive game plan? Are you a speedster? Are you a home run hitter? There's a lot that goes into that. His approach to your at bat, and then you have your approach as well. So we got to kind of know what our game plan is going to be, right? So you get up there, and there's a lot going around right now talking about let's take this first pitch. I don't like that mentality. A lot of times your best pitch of the at-bat is going to be that first pitch because that pitcher is trying to get ahead of you. So she's going to be somewhere around the zone. And I don't want to say the word guess, but in your mind, when you go into that first at-bat, this is what I tell the youngest ones, and this is what I tell the oldest ones. Look, you're looking for a specific pitch in your very first pitch of the at-bat, right? Cut the plate in half. In your mind, is she throwing in? Is she throwing away? You've kind of seen her tendencies. As long as you're not the first batter, and you can still get tendencies if you are the first batter by watching her warm up. Or you may have seen him play a game earlier, or you know who she is, or this coach, you know what his calls are. Every time they say 42-1, you know exactly what that pitch is because he's had the same calls for 2 years. Okay? I mean, I'm not trying to fool anybody with this. So you have your approach. And so in your mind, okay, if she throws me a fastball inside, I'm turning on this and I'm hitting this to the fence. Bottom line. So when you get through your setup, everything is good to go. Now here comes the pitch. So you're already expecting the pitch to be inside on you. So you've cut the plate in half. If it's outside and I can identify it's outside right out of her hand, I am not swinging. I am not. It's not my pitch. I'm taking it. And then boom, you take the pitch, right? If it is inside, you jump on it because I'm hitting your. If you throw it inside, I've already made my mind up. If I think it's a strike and it's inside, this is my pitch. So we've kind of limited what we're going to swing at in our first at bat. So it gives us a little bit of choice, but we're already determined. Don't throw me here. And it could be the same way. Look, she's going to start me off speed. It's going to be a breaking ball of some type. It's going to be something. And you're already expecting that. And if it's not that, we pull back because we're already going to get loaded. We're already coming back forward. We've already, uncoiled a little bit. So, and it's that mentality of yes, 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 no. It's that every single time. So I'm already there. I see the pitch is coming. Yes, 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 no. And then you turn it off. You can't have a swing turned off and then turn it on. You're not going to be successful a long time with that. But you can take that approach of I'm green, 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 or I'm yes, 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 no. So that same thing. I load the same. I get back. My hands separate away from me a little bit. I get turned. I'm getting into my slot. I'm getting connected. Every pitch, whether you're swinging or taking, you need to get connected every single time. Connect every single time. And then, boom, that's when your approach takes over. Now, if you end up getting up 3-0, your coach could have that mentality of we're not swinging 3-0. Well, in that same mindset, that pitcher doesn't want to walk you necessarily. And you can kind of tell the moment. If they're trying to pitch around you and you're not going to get anything to hit, of course, if you've already hit 2 home runs in the first and second inning, here you are batting in the third, they're probably not pitching to you, so they're going to pitch around you. But if it's in a tight game and you're the leadoff or whatever, and maybe she's just walked the previous batter and we rolled the lineup around and now you're the leadoff, she's trying to throw a strike and she's eventually going to throw that strike. So if you can drive that pitch instead of taking a walk, don't just necessarily I'm 3-0, I'm taking. I hate that mentality. I understand it. I get it. But I hate that mentality. 3-0, we're just taking. I hate taking on the first pitch because that's a lot of times going to be your best pitch. What I see a lot of girls doing is they'll get into the box, and I don't know if it's a cockiness, if it's a confidence thing, or if it's trying to show up the pitcher, whatever it is. They're in the box, and they just have their bat on the shoulder. Their knees aren't bent. They're not in a good stance. They're not in an athletic stance, and they're just going to take that pitch. Me as a coach, me as a pitcher, me as a decision-making instructor, whatever, I want to make sure I'm telling my athlete, I want to make sure I see that I can identify that, and I know I'm going to groove a fastball right here because there's no way her stance, her posture looks anything like she's going to do anything with it. So I'm going to go out there and try to get ahead. At the younger ages, 10s and 12s, it's inherently different. I get it. I understand that. But I'm talking about the older ones, the 14s, the 16s, that she's going to be accurate. She's going to be able to hit her spot. She's going to be able to throw what pitch she wants to throw. So you, as the hitter, need to understand that. So when she comes in, you need to punish her for coming in. And that needs to be a part of your goal. So for this season, I want everyone that's either watching or hearing this to set that goal of, I want to have a better approach at the plate next year than I did this year. And you could have had a great approach this year. You could have been amazing with your approach, understanding exactly what you want to do. But we can always get better. There's no, you batted .395 this year. Incredible. You had that the people that was running Game Changer that did as accurate job as possible, and you were able to say, hey, yeah, I did bat .395. Next year, I want to push the envelope a little bit. I'm going to push myself. I'm going to jump out there. I'm going to bat 400. Or this season, this spring season, summer, I want to bat 400. And one way that you can make that jump is to maybe tweak your approach a little bit. Be willing to jump out there and be a first pitch hitter. That's, I think, as a matter of fact, last night, Bryce Harper, bottom of the first inning. I think he bats third bats second. Anyway, wherever he was batting it in the lineup, he took the first pitch for a home run last night. Very first pitch he saw. But it wasn't the first pitch he saw of the game. It was his first pitch of the at-bat. So he had an approach. I'm looking for this pitch. I'm not taking this first pitch to get my timing. We don't take our first pitch to get our timing. Don't. You get your timing in the on-deck circle. Get your timing when the other pitcher's warming up. And I understand they're going to take some off. I get that. But you get your timing on the pitcher's mechanics. You know what I mean? You get to a certain level where whether you're playing 10U, you're gonna get to that maximum speed almost. You're gonna get to that, well, not maximum speed, but you're gonna get to that. You kind of get used to the speed you're gonna face. Now there's gonna be some unicorns out there that throw gas at, like, she's the fastest pitcher here this weekend, and she's throwing 5 or 6 miles an hour faster or whatever. I get it. I understand that it happens. But your overall timing, you have this clock, and you're used to that level that you're playing, and it comes from playing in the right tournaments. There's a whole lot that plays into that, but your timing is pretty much already established. Getting as much live action, live reps as you possibly can. Catchers, you got athletes, you got your pitchers out there that are pitching. Athletes, y'all need to catch your catchers. It does a lot. Don't have coaches. Don't have mamas and daddies out there catching. Don't have just the catchers catching. You could be an emergency catcher. It helps you with your time, and it helps you with your spin, too. You're being able to pitch, identify. Be able to identify the certain pitches. Being able to look at a changeup and how the ball moves. You'd be able to look at what a 2-seam fastball does compared to a 4-seam. It doesn't necessarily have to be the pitcher and the catcher that knows the difference between a 4-seam and a 2-seam. You should be able to see it coming out of the hand, or at least have a guess at it. and know the spin of a ball, to know what the spin of a drop looks like, to know what the spin of a curve looks like, to know what the spin of a rise looks like, to be able to learn and teach your tendencies to yourself and your teammates. Hey, this is what I saw. She's trying to throw this, or this is what she threw me. And that's all of that helps build a better approach at the plate. Having a mindset going into it with, she has the advantage because she's the one throwing me the ball, but what can I take away from her? So you can take a part of the plate away from her. You know, you could be, don't throw it here. If she throws it here, you're about to hit it to the fence. Or you could be that, you understand it. And here's another thing too. As a base runner, you know that this girl's got a fastball and a changeup. That's it. That's all you've seen her throw. That's all you know. So you know with a 0-2 count, she's probably throwing something off speed here. So you should be able to get a jump taking that next base, right? Getting the jump on that steal, right? We should have an approach to every part of the game we have here. Now, as a batter, we got somebody on second base. What's our goal, right? It was a wild pitch. Now we've moved that runner. My approach has changed a little bit. She's no longer on first. She's on second base now. So my approach as a hitter, the count has changed. Has it changed my approach? Am I ahead? Am I behind? Am I even? How many outs are there? How much time is left in the game? How many innings are left in the game? Is this a new pitcher? There's a lot of things that can change your approach. But if you don't have an approach at all, it doesn't matter what's going on out there. It doesn't change anything what you're going to do. You're going to look at it, and if you think it's a strike, you're swinging. But you don't have to swing at a strike, right? If you're ahead, you don't have to swing at a strike. It's a good pitch that you weren't expecting. She fooled you, so you're not going to make a weak contact and dink one back to the pitcher. Or if she keeps throwing you inside and you don't want to hit it to the left side, you're not trying to hit it to third base. So don't swing at the inside pitches. Granted that you get two there, and you end up getting the 2 strikes, but you're looking for something over the plate, or you're looking for something outside that you can drive behind your runner. So that's your approach. We don't have to swing just because it's a strike. So whatever that mentality is, whenever that started, I understand why it started, but it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to swing at a strike. Now, don't get me wrong. If you have 2 on you, your zone should be expanded a little bit, and you should be able to change your approach and go, hey, whatever pitch that I think is close here, I need to be able to put this in play. At the end of the day, we don't want strikeouts. I understand they happen. I get it. But let's have a quality at bat. Let's get some production out of each at bat. And having an approach leads to that. So for the coaches that are listening, parents that are listening, let's talk to our athletes about having a good approach. Coaches, if you don't have an idea of what an approach is or what the approach is that you're trying to go for, watch some baseball, watch some softball, watch something, watch some stick and ball sports. Pause it and go, okay, I got a runner on first and second here. Here's this batter. This one's got speed, or this one's got power. This has got whatever. How am I advancing these runners? So you start changing your approach. You start working on an approach. Then your athletes can build their approach around your philosophy of your coaching. So no matter what, when we're in this situation here, we're trying to get a ball on the ground behind this runner, whatever that is, whatever you're deciding. Or we're trying to get this runner to 2, whatever we can do. And then you have that approach, and you work on that approach with your athletes. And you'll have your speedsters, the ones that are really good at bunting, because some athletes are better than others at bunting. Every player should be able to bunt. Every player should be able to put a bunt down and move a runner, right? We work on that. Some are a little bit faster. Some you could bunt for a base hit and move runners. Some it's going to be a sacrifice, but we're moving the runners, okay? That same mentality that you have as a coach, you need to be able to get that out there and be able to explain why, so your athlete can understand. They have to buy into it to understand that. They want to have a good approach, because if they have an approach, think about it this way. If they go into it with a plan, they can have confidence in that plan. If they go into it and you've told them what to do and they have no idea, they don't believe in it, or they're not on the same page, they're not going to have too much confidence, they're going to do themselves. So if you have a plan, be able to get it out there to them that you believe in it so they can believe in it as well. That's the main thing. You got to be on the same page. And a lot of times that could be the head coach could be sitting on the bucket in the dugout. If this is a situation, this is just a scenario. Okay? Your girls are up in the dugout or whatever, talking to the coaches. It could be a pool game, it could be a friendly, it could be a scrimmage, or it could be a game. Hey, we lose, we go home. But you got the head coach on the bucket, you got your coaches coaching the base pass, whatever, and you're making your calls, and you're talking to the athlete beside you because she wants to know, and you're saying, hey, this is what we're looking for here. We got a runner on first and second. We have less than 2 outs here. All we're trying to do in this position is to get those runners in scoring position. If we now say we get a pass ball and the runners advance, so now we're trying to get something on the ground. Maybe we're trying to hit something in the air deep to get a sacrifice fly to score this run. We only need 1 run, and the ball game is tied. So being able to relay that information of what's going on in your head as a coach, so you can talk to your athlete and say, hey, this is our approach. This is what we're trying to do. That's going to help them with their approach. They're going to go, okay, wait a minute, I get this. All right, I'm trying to put something down on the ground. You know, maybe we're trying to bunt it past that third baseman. Maybe we're trying to push bunt, get it to the shortstop. By the time the shortstop's able to make a play, that run is scored because we know how fast Susie is. Or we see the shortstop is playing deep. Or the third baseman has never came up, even in any type of situation. She just plays back. So if we know this pitcher has been able to hit her spots all game long, she's going to be somewhere around the zone. I know I can get the bat to the ball for a bunt. And we know we got a speedster on third. She's leaving on the pitch because this girl is sitting a 2-2 count or sitting a 3-0 count or something like that. I can be able to get this down and push. We're going to score some runs. But we got to get everybody on the same sheet of music. So we got to talk to our athletes about their approach. So you give them your philosophy. This is what we want to do in this situation. That athlete's able to build her approach. She's able to talk to you, be able to understand your philosophy is built into her approach, and then now we can do something. Now we can go somewhere with this. Now we become a better offensive team instead of the players, all they're doing is going up there and swinging if it's a strike. If your team, if you're one of those coaches, it doesn't matter if you're 8U, 10U, 12, it doesn't matter what age group you are. If you're one of the coaches that doesn't talk about your offensive philosophy or doesn't talk about an approach at the plate other than when to load, how to load, swing if it's closed. If that's your approach, you need to go back to the drawing board as a coach and say, okay, in this situation, what am I doing here? What am I looking to do? And start building that, working on it in practice, putting them in those scenarios. Maybe we got just an infield defense, but we're going live here. If you only got 8 or 9 ball players on your team, you can still run live scenarios here. Still run your live scenarios. You got a hitter, and you may not even have to have a base runner. You just tell folks, hey, we got a runner on first and second right here. You know, there's different ways around that to be able to get your approach and your philosophy over to your athletes so they understand. And your coaches too. If your coaches aren't on the same page as you and they don't have the same philosophy, then hey man, what are we doing? And we got to talk about it. That's the thing too, man. We got to communicate. Communication is huge when we're talking about an approach. And it's nonverbal and verbal communication. It's not giving you the sign whatever we're doing, and that means something. Maybe not giving you a sign is your sign. We've communicated what we're going to do when we get in this situation here. When you come up to bat, there's nobody on. You got to get on. That's your approach. Whatever you got to do, you got to get on. That's it. That's your job. And then as the game dictates, and later on there's runners on, there's outs, there's different scenarios, then of course the approach changes. And the more we do this, the more we think about it, the more we talk about it, the more we're able to communicate, then everybody's on the same sheet of music. And then now it doesn't matter who's up there to bat. You don't have to change your philosophy. You can do more, or you can do other things with different athletes, but as across the board, there should just be a standard. This is our approach in this situation. And it doesn't happen overnight, man. You can't get a bunch of 10-year-olds on the same sheet of music overnight. It takes time. And if you're trying to teach this stuff in tournaments, it's hard So you got to put that practice time in. You got to have those meetings. And you don't have to be on the field to teach this stuff. It's a mentality thing. You got different types of learners. You got visual, you got auditory, and I can't remember what it's called with the hands-on learners, but you have different types of learners. Some you can just tell, some you have to show, some they need to feel, some they need to see. So you got to understand you'll have 9, 10, 12, 15 athletes that all have different ways of learning. So that needs to come into play too. A lot of them, you can't just tell them what we're doing. A lot of them, you can't just say, "Hey, this is it." This is, you gotta get them on the same page. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing as instructors. We're trying to lead these girls to get them to think, trying to get them to advance, trying to get them to their next level. And it's not just in the game of softball; it's in life. So having an approach in life is the same thing. We do it all the time. We do our prep work before we go to bed at night. Right? We might fix our lunch and have it ready for us tomorrow. We might have our clothes set out for tomorrow. We set an alarm, right? So that's the same mentality that we have. Having a good approach to your day, to your week, having yourself set up. We pre-plan our meals and stuff like that. That's what we're talking about with the approach. So any analogy you want to put in there, coaches, to help your athletes understand. I'm big on analogies. A lot of my buddies are big on analogies. I steal analogies from my buddies and other coaches. Whatever you got to do to relate to that athlete, or to relate to the parents, or to the other coaches. That communication is, I think, gets lost in all the hoopla, the yelling, coaches want to be heard. There's this thing, like, you see it a lot. I think coaches just say certain things and they want to be heard saying certain things because they've heard other coaches say it. So they want to project what kind of coach they are, how good of a coach they are by being loud. And it just, that for me, that doesn't work. I mean, it could work for you guys, but for me, that doesn't work at all. It's however you communicate with your athletes. So if you got to be that loud coach and the girls feed off of it and they get it and they understand, you're able to teach them and they're able to do what you need them to do that. If you're more of a quiet coach and there's more of an understanding, you have that kind of group that they don't like all that hooping and hollering and screaming and stuff, then that's your thing. So that's kind of like my approach to goals and approach at the plate. I wanted to get into that, and we're going to talk about this more next week with definitely some of the podcasts that I'm that's going to be rolling out. You'll hear us talking about approach and just kind of like that goal, because this is that time of year, man, where you can make some big time changes. That you go ahead and put that seed in the ground now, and you start working on those changes. And then this off season, if you're in an off season or if you're playing a different sport, when you get back to it, those changes that you've made, that you've implemented in your approach, that's when it's going to show up. And the changes don't happen overnight, but once you get into that season, you're like, holy cow, it was only such and such amount of months. But you can see those small improvements, and that just keeps you going every day. That 1% better every day, or an inch better every day, or whatever analogy you like to use. It works, man. If you can just get better a little bit and just grow on it. It's like, it takes, so many weeks before something becomes a habit. There's different doctors will say different things, but like 20 something days, 21 days, 22 days or something, 26 days, whatever it is. If you want to make a change, change is the hardest thing we can do in life. Change it's incredibly hard because we get used to it. We get into this habit. So if our athletes, they just have the habit of this is their same approach, and they're battling it, and they haven't gotten any better, or they're down in the dumps, and you can kind of see it. Let's talk approach. That's that's nothing physical at all with it. It's the mental side. So the mental side of the approach, and just those 3 words, it's having good approach. That's it. It's 4 words. We're having a good approach, but having a good approach to everything, whether it's life, school, softball, whatever, it's big. So I will definitely continue talking about this approach thing because it's the time of year that we can actually have the time to make the change, to get into that. And we'll talk about that a little bit more down the road. But I want to get into something else here before it gets a little too late in the show here. I do appreciate everyone being here. I appreciate it. If you haven't hit that like button or you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. It helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. It gets us out to more and more folks so they can see it. If you know somebody that's into softball or just needs to, hear a coach with a different perspective and maybe can change some different things, agree or disagree, I'm good with it. It doesn't matter to me. But if it's made you think, that's the whole purpose of doing this live show right now. Next year when the softball season, the college softball season gets going, we're going to be recapping the games and kind of talking about the big news and stuff. And we'll continue talking about different topics that surround the game with the youth sports and too, the travel tournaments, the school ball, the high school, spring league or spring season. So we'll definitely be getting into that. But for now, what I want to get into is talking about a subject that I think a lot of us, we may not know it by name, but a lot of us deal with it. And what I mean by that is we're paralyzed by choice. And I can simplify the analogy all the way down to when you ask someone what they want for dinner and they just can't decide, right? So we get paralyzed by choice when it comes to that. You've got athletes that are in the process of being recruited, right? Signing their letters of intent or doing their official visits, or they're somewhere in the process of it's decision time for them somewhere, and it depends. You make your decision on what level of choice that is, but and it could be what travel ball team they're going to be playing with, okay? But we're paralyzed by choice, and so how can we get around? How can we get away from that feeling of being paralyzed by the choices that we have to make, or deciding between multiple things, right? So when we talk about paralyzed by choice, it's not this dread of, hey, I have to do this. It's not like the decision has been made and I don't want to do it, and so I'm not going to do it. I'm not talking about that. What I mean by that paralyzed by choice is you actually have a decision to make. It could be something small, like we're just talking about where we're going to eat for dinner tonight. I don't know, you decide. I don't know, you decide. I don't know, you decide. We all do it, right? Kids do it, wives do it, husbands do it. Everybody does it, right? We could have that paralysis. We hear about paralysis by analysis, right? We get so caught up in that. But before we get to that analysis, let's talk about that choice. When it comes time for you to decide on what you want to do, whether it's what team you want to go play for, what team you want to try out for, whether you want to continue to coach, whether you want to continue to play the game, what choices you want to make in your high school classes, your courses that's going to set you up to go to college academically. And then on top of that, these athletes, they've got to decide what major they're going to study when they get to college. So it's not even, there's a whole lot that goes into those decisions that we've got to make. So how can we avoid this paralysis by choice? When we just don't know what decision to make. This past weekend, we had a family emergency up in North Carolina. Of course, everybody kind of knows that I live in South Carolina. Though we had a family emergency, and I was torn between if I should go up and help with whatever I could do, whatever it is, you know what I mean? Not that I could do a whole lot. I mean, I my family is in place up in North Carolina, and they were able to do everything that I ended up going up there anyway. But I had a choice to make. Was I going to have to make some arrangements around here with my family, my immediate family, wife and my kids, and be able to go up there and be able to help out, and so you battle that internally, right? You don't know. Like for me personally, I didn't know, is it the best decision for me? Am I going up there? Am I just going to be in the way? Is some of the stuff that I have going on here, can I push it off? Can I, So I ultimately made the decision to go up there, and I'm glad I did. I was able to kind of help take care of some things. I was able to lighten the load on some people and different things going on there. But you get that feeling of, I don't know what's the best decision, and so I relate that to when it came time for our family as a family to decide on where we were going to go with our daughters, with my daughters playing ball. What's the best situation for them? Where do they want to play? What team do they want to play with? How far are we willing to travel to join a team? Was I going to stay out of coaching, or was I going to continue to coach, or was I going to start back coaching? What was I going to do? And you go back and forth, and you don't know, and you never know if that decision you're making is the right decision. You never know. And then there's always that second guessing. So when you think about that second guessing, you're already paralyzed by choice. And then you finally decide on what it is that you're going to do. Then you start second guessing. Was this the right choice? And everybody deals with it. We say that, well, nobody knows my situation. Nobody has to deal with it. Why me and this and that? Why do I have to make this decision? No one else does. I mean, there's so many people out there that have to also make those decisions that you make too. So you're not alone. Being able to talk to someone, maybe inside or outside of your circle, about being able to voice it. And you don't necessarily have to get their opinion or take their opinion or whatever. Maybe just you hearing you go through it. Like you hearing yourself, you hearing you talk about it, you being able to kind of verbalize it and put it into words and be able to kind of break it down, right? What helps you make a decision. And you're never going to know, like on these bigger decisions and like, maybe it's a career move. Maybe it's what school choice, maybe it's what major choice. You're never going to know the future. You're never going to know what's going to happen. That's just how it is. It's left up to fate. It's, and what's going to happen, it will happen. You can decide and plan as much as you want to. You can make the choices and stuff, but ultimately it's not up to you. But if you can have confidence in your choice, that helps you when it comes time to making your decision on whatever choice it is. So when it comes down to school time, if you can do your little Venn diagram, or you can do pros and cons, on different levels. And maybe it's 50-50 either way. And right now there's no way to kind of tell what you should do or shouldn't do. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully you're able to stand behind one and get on one. But everybody is paralyzed by choice on some level. Think about coaches. Who should I start in this game? Who should I pitch in this game? Think about coaches when they talk about their lineups. Where should I bat so-and-so? They could go off of previous week's stats or last week's stats or last tournament stats or stats from this tournament. It doesn't mean that that's going to be the best decision they can make. So they're paralyzed by choice. Who do I start? Who's my catcher? Who's my first baseman? Who do I sit? How long do I let her stay out there? She just walked one batter. Do I let her walk another batter? This team is knocking the ball to the fence. Who do I put in now? So unfortunately, there's no red lights and green lights that when you start thinking about something, you'll see a red light and it says, okay, that's the wrong decision. And then you start thinking about something, you see a green light, and that is the right decision. Unfortunately, that's not it. That's not how it works. But I guess, what I'm trying to get at with this paralyzed by choices, every aspect of your life on some level. We all deal with this paralyzed by choice. We all deal with it. You're not alone when you're trying to make a decision and you have no idea what's the best decision. It's just a part of how life is. So with these athletes, understanding that regardless, you're going to get to a point where a decision has got to be made. You have to make a decision, and with that decision, there's it could be good, it could be bad. You could have some good, you can have some bad, but have confidence in the fact that you made a decision, you've thought about it, you went with it, and this is what we're going to do. Now, I'm not talking about, in this instance, I'm not talking about choosing between McDonald's or Burger King or Texas Roadhouse or Logan's. And food is food. When you get to that point, you make a decision of what club team you're going to play for, or what college you're going to go to, or what sport. There's athletes that are multi-sport athletes that they get to a point where they've got to make a decision whether they're going to continue to be a multi-sport athlete through high school and into college. You got softball players that play volleyball and vice versa. They, multi-sport athlete in college. Or you got these athletes that I can get a full ride playing this sport, or I can get a half a ride in academic playing this sport. There's a decision. So when you go to make that decision and you bite the bullet and you finally like, all right, this is it. This is my choice. Have confidence in that decision because you've gone through the process of thinking about it. You've done what you thought was best, and that's what you went for, and that's what you did. So it's a real thing. You're not the only one that goes through it. You're like me. I go through it all the time. You're scared that you're going to make the wrong choice when it's a big time thing. What car you're going to you want to buy to drive. It's big. I mean, go back and think about it. If you got little ones right now, think about Halloween costume. There's so many choices, right? You don't know what. You go to Baskin Robbins, or you go to whatever your favorite ice cream shop is, and you look up and everybody does it. They all look at the same board. They look up there and there's just choices. Choices like crazy. It's hard for you to make a decision, right? It's like that in life. Wherever you go, whatever you're doing, wherever you go, you're always going to have to make a decision. But we all do. Like there's more people out there. And this is the truth. There's more people out there that are going through the exact same stuff that you're going through that you don't believe. You're not the only one that's going through what you're going through. I know a lot of times it seems like that. I was the same way. Why me? Why do why do I have to decide this? But there's a lot of people out there that get you. They understand you. They go through the same stuff that you're going through. So you're not alone in this. But all you can do at the end of the day, all you can do is what's best for you and yours, right? That's it. And you have to have that confidence. You have to be confident in that choice. If I got to make a choice. I truly don't know which one is right. I don't know what I should do, but I have to make a decision. And whatever decision you land on, boom, that's it. And then we move on from it. We can't dwell on it. You can't, don't go with regret. I should have never made this choice. I should have went with the other one. That's just the way life is, folks. We gotta live with choices. We gotta make decisions. We gotta make choices. It's not easy, but try to avoid that paralysis when it comes to trying to make a decision. We do it all the time when you pull up to a drive-through. You could tell yourself, I'm going to go to McDonald's, I'm going to get this. Then you get up there and you start looking around. You start letting that feeling of being paralyzed by choice leak in. It happens. We're all like that. I'm as guilty as anyone about that. You can talk to my wife, talk to my kids about that. We talk about it all the time. What do we want for dinner? I don't know. I don't know either. What do you want? I don't know. It happens. And that's on like this small level. when it comes to like big time decisions, you know, what car to drive, you know, what to get for Christmas, what Halloween costume, that's all like little stuff. When you start talking about like college, what major, what classes am I going to take in high school? You know, am I going to take honors? Am I going to take AP classes? Does it benefit me? You know, and then you have the real life stuff that athletes go with, boyfriends and girlfriends and parties and get-togethers, and what am I going to wear to school today? I mean, we all have it. So I just thought maybe you guys would like to hear that somebody is going through it too. Everybody's paralyzed by choice. You don't know if the decision that you're going to make is the right one. There could be too many decisions. Do I want vanilla ice cream or chocolate ice cream? Do I want to go to Stanford or do I want to go to Yale? Do I want to play softball or do I want to play volleyball? Do I want to continue playing softball? You know, what do I want to be when I grow up? Do I want to be an EMT? Do I want to be a firefighter? Do I want to be a teacher? Do I want to be a social worker? Do I want to be a doctor? Do I want to be a lawyer? We got so many choices we can't focus on any of it and make a decision. It's tough. But I'm there with you, man. Shoot. Hit me up. Send me a text. Call me. Well, I'll help you. We'll talk about it. So, all right. So we talked last week and the week before about kind of putting a spotlight on some teams out there, some of the travel teams, some of the high school teams, some of the middle school teams, some of the teams that you have out there. So the form is live. I will share it again. I do believe it is down in the description below. Let me take a look and see. I think I've got the form live on the description. But so what this is it's sort of just a jot form that it's got some information. You have to provide some information for me, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that information that you give me, and I'm also going to go through and look into the team, look into your team and see, and just kind of give you a shout out. You know, where you're from, what you like. Yeah, so the jot form is up there. You know, where you are, where you're from. You know, tell us a little bit about your team, and we'll go and kind of just shout you out. So this is the form. This is what it looks like. So when you click on it, again, the description of it is down there. Right, it's in the description and down below. So it's just tell us about yourself. Give me a name, whoever the contact is, whoever you are. Phone number and an email. Just basic stuff. I won't spam you. We'll talk about it. And then right here you have the team name. And then whatever age group you are, the team colors. Just let me know. I want to get a feel for who you are. You know what I mean? Because you could tell me, well, we're the Hawks or whatever. And I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, they could be blue and green. They could whatever color. So let me know. Let me know where you're at, where you're located, and I want to know your tournament sanctions too. Like, so who you playing with? Is it a U Trip? Is it USA? Is it NSA? PGF? Is it where are you playing at? Give me a memory that you have, whether you're a parent and you're talking about it, whether you're a player and you're talking about it, as a coach, as a fan, whatever. Let me know. Like, give me something that happened in the past season. It don't have to be related to on the ball field. It could be anything. You guys went out and you did you did something as a team. It was a team bonding, or there was a triple play, or someone hadn't had a hit all year and they got a home run or something. Let me know. Give me some personality there, and then also let me know kind of the future plans. So like if you're a parent, what's your plans? If you're a player, what's your goals? If you're a coach, if you're the head of an organization, give me some of the personality. Let me know what y'all are doing, what's happening. And then here's kind of the back. It kind of lets me know who I am talking to, just on the softball level. Like, what is it that you love most about the game? Anything, man. These are open-ended. There's no right. There's no wrong. It helps me learn who you are. It helps me learn the community that, my fan base, my followers, the people that are, see my stuff, see my content, who the people that I talk to. And if there's something that you would change, what would it be? And this could be anything. Anything about softball, athletics. It could be about school, society, anything. I love getting to know people. And also down there, how did you hear about Black Diamond Softball and Fitness? Whether you got to the Jot forum, whether it's on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or whatever, how did you find about that? And boom, you hit submit, and it goes to me. It sends an email to me, and then I go through it. I've got a few since I've put this out. It's going live, so we worked through the kinks on some stuff. So we've got this out there. We're going to be putting these teams out there. We're going to showcase these teams. It'll be at least once a week. Moving next week, once we get everything back up and rolling like we want to here, we'll be shouting them out, letting them know, who we've got. So we'll do kind of like a little piece on them, and I just want the softball community to find out about these other teams too. Like, you could be a team in Rhode Island and have no idea these teams in Nevada, or you could be a team in California and have no idea they played in Arkansas, and you could reach out. It's a way to connect different people, and if you're like me, and there's a lot of us out there that are like game changer junkies. We'll find a game on Game Changer, or we'll see somebody posting something on Facebook. You go down a rabbit hole and you find out, like, man, check out these. This is what they do at practice, or this is where they play at, or this is their uniforms, or this is what they do. And we kind of just grow the game and not really connecting to people. And I think the best way to do this is to connect people, and this is something that I want to do. So I'm looking forward to getting more. I've read through a lot, and I appreciate the ones that I've gotten. It's going to be really cool that I'm able to do this. So the more I get, the more I can do. And if you do submit one, I promise you, the ones that have already submitted, I've already been in contact with them and talked to them, exchanging text messages or just maybe via email or just talking. But I will let you know what episode. So if like next week when I do them, I'll let those teams know that, hey, this is going live, and I'll make sure that they are aware of it. And so it's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it. I hope it takes off. I hope I get even more. I got quite a few teams that are already reached out. So we'll make sure we get this out there to them, and you guys can check them out too. So it's pretty cool for me. Right now, like I was saying, I do have the coat drive here locally in Conway, South Carolina. So if you are local, there are some drop-off locations that are going live today. I was hoping to get them out yesterday, but I had a lot going on. So I am trying to do my best. It's going to run for the whole month of November, so you didn't miss anything. You didn't, if you wanted to donate your coats, donate your jackets. If you don't live locally and you wanted to send me your coats or jackets or something, by all means, I can make that happen. I'll make sure the coats get to where they need to be. I've been in contact with a couple of different locations that can use the coats, that they appreciate what we're doing here. And I'm all about giving back to the community. I think it's November is a good time to do this down here in the South. I know it's already colder up north, but down here we'll get these kids some jackets. They may not be able to have them, and make sure they're warm in the cold months that are coming, because December, January, February, and March it gets pretty cold in South Carolina. And I know it ain't Maine, but it gets pretty cold. I think we stay above freezing most of the year. So that I'll definitely. Matter of fact, what I can do is I will put this out there now. So if you're over there on Facebook, over there on the different socials, I want to make sure I get this posted again for whoever wants to donate. And again, if you're local, you've seen this. If you're not, then I appreciate, just pass the word for me, share this information out there so we get these kids some coats and stuff. So I'm gonna put this up on socials, and I'll make sure I share it here down in the description as well. So we do have the location set up, and they'll be going live today, like I was saying. Just bear with me a moment. Right now I'm actually putting it out there so that it is live, so people can see what I'm talking about. I put it out there last week, but we are live now. There we go. So I'm going to put this in the description as well, so we'll have this for everybody. So it's pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. If you got a coat and you want to share it, you want to give it to a youngin, a kid, then let's do it. You know, it don't have to be new. Or if you wanted to go out and buy some inexpensive coats, definitely do that. Right now, the 2 drop-off locations that I have that are going live today will be 170 Wetlands Industrial Park, Conway, South Carolina. Local people know that's where Bree is at. Her training facility is there. And then also 1027 3rd Avenue in Conway. That's the trophy store down there in downtown Conway. We'll have a box there. We'll have 2 locations there. I'm getting in touch with the Conway Rec Department to have a box put in there. Once these things get filled up, I'll be able to come by, take them, and store them until we donate them the first week of December. So if you need me to come by, pick them up, pick up your donation, pick up whatever, let me know. I will be more than happy to come by and pick up your donation and drop them off where I need them to be dropped off at. That's no problem. If you can't get out, but you want to participate, you do want to donate, by all means, let me know, please, and I will take care of that. I will do that. I have no problems with that at all. I'll make it happen, I promise you. We do have some other things that are going on here in the future. I don't know exactly when everything's going to go live, but we do have some big plans that are coming up as things unroll for us here at Black Diamond. As far as I know there's been a lot of questions about an indoor training facility that we're going to be doing, building, putting together, getting into. As of right now, there are no plans for a building, for us to build something or to get into something. It's just not something that I want to get into. I would love to have a building on my own, trust me, but the undertaking that I would have to go through just to have to be there 24 hours a day, having a facility like that, to get it up and running, and it's just, I'm not in a situation where I'm going to be able to do that. So for right now, Black Diamond is going to be the same that it's been, doing my training like I have been doing, on the fields, local to people, running our camps, running our clinics. So I do appreciate all the support, though. It means a lot for all this, everything that we're trying to do. I know that the community here locally for us in Conway, they're all about it. I love the community. I love the social media fan base. I love just all the support that we continues to pour in. The social media with just sending messages and talking and understanding the whole process of whatever we got going on, whatever we're trying to do for the community. It means a lot to have the support. So we got some big plans, and I keep talking about having these plans and stuff, and it's just, we're still a little bit too soon. I can't really get into any more detail, but next year is going to be a big year for Black Diamond. There's going to be a lot of stuff put in place, so stay tuned for sure. The live stream, the weekday shows, they're going to get a little bit more involved with college softball. We're going to have an actual show. So it won't just be me talking in podcast form and talking at you. That'll be more involved. The guest, like Coach Tom Bunn, he's going to be on. He's going to be a staple on the show. You got Coach Nate and Josh Cathcart from Hitting Done Right. They're going to be staples on the show. And then we're going to have more guests too. We got a big week planned for next week as far as the podcast is concerned. Some episodes will be going out here on YouTube and social media. We'll have the links for Spotify and iTunes and Google and all that stuff. We're going to get back into it full steam ahead. And I hope you guys are on board. I hope you guys are continuing to listen to that kind of stuff. So that's going to do it for today's show. I know it was short and sweet, and a lot of it was a lot of rambling, but I had to get back into it, man. I'd been away from it for a little bit. I had a lot of personal stuff going on, and I was told not to put my stuff on the back burner. I had a couple of messages from some people, and they said, "Hey, man, these people, they expect you to be out there for them." And so I was planning on coming on Friday. I was planning on doing my stuff Friday. Just kind of getting back, making the announcement, hey, we're back. I'm back from my 2-week hiatus or however long it's been. There's just been a lot of stuff going on, and it's getting hard for me to process everything, but best way to do it is just get back on the beam. So, yeah, I appreciate it. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. It helps me out tremendously. And liking, sharing, commenting. If you know somebody that could use some of this stuff or could benefit from it, or just pass on the word, pass on information, make sure you get it out there to them. The VOD of this will go out later. So if you're checking this out a little bit later on the VOD channel, I appreciate you for clicking on it. I appreciate that. So make sure you're liking and subscribing. Helps me out. And until next time, I will see you folks. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.
My whole life I just wanted someone